Hey everybody, welcome to Unfiltered Caregiver. I am Frank, editor Frank. You guys usually don't hear me. And I am here with your guest, of course, Lindsay. How you doing, Lindsay?
Hey, great, Frank.
And we got Caro. Caro, how you been?
Hey guys, I'm over here in Mexico.
Well, living the good
Hola.
life.
Hola.
So I had a question for you guys. You know, I have older grandparents and my parents are getting that old, getting up there. And one of the big debates going around is bringing in a grandparent or a parent into your own home to help give them care, but you work all day. So I have a few questions about what does that look like and how that normally goes around. I think that's something that a lot of people are dealing with today. So my first question for you guys is, what makes hiring care for your own home different than using a facility or something like that? What are the things that you have to kind of be prepared for?
So, first of all, the finances. So, being in San Diego, going to a memory care, it's basically called getting a bed, can start anywhere from $5,000 to $12,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 a month, and I'm talking the 5-star ones in La Jolla and Del Mar, etc. It really depends on, do they have an ailment, or they have,
And that's even
what
right now that you said prices, most of these prices are with a shared bed.
Oh yeah,
You know, there you go. You share rooms with somebody else.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. This is crazy. So the client that I'm taking care of now that broke her hip, we wanted to go to a 5-star. It was $20,000 a month, but she could pay for it. But guess what? 5 feet away from her, we had another little roommate, and guess what she had? Dementia, and she was crawling out of her bed every 5 seconds, and the alarm was going off. So you don't always get what you pay for. Bringing someone into your home, first of all, finances, it's a lot less money. It really depends on the ailment. So are you bringing somebody in, Frank, that just, maybe lost their partner, and you want to bring them into a place where they have familiarity? Or are you bringing a grandma and grandpa in because maybe they have dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, so they have a disease? Like, what are we talking about? Because it's different.
Well, let me ask you, let's expand on that. Who do you ask about the level of care that's going to be needed for your grandparents, let's say?
Usually, your doctor.
Okay.
And you as a family member should know and see exactly what your loved one needs.
What kind of questions should you be asking the doctor?
Well, the doctor can pretty much tag it. So let's just say, from our last podcast, let's just say we see a decline in hygiene, meals, they're leaving the house unattended, all of these things. So let's just say we're going to a neurologist. There's levels 1 through 4 with dementia. And the doctor can pretty much ask those questions and nail it. So, if you go to a neurologist with your grandfather, grandmother, whatever, senior citizen, and you're saying, hey, I'm bringing my loved one in because I noticed that their hygiene is completely off. They're not eating the right kinds of meals. They're isolating themselves. They haven't been the same since their loved one died, or they haven't been the same. They've just been declining. A neurologist is going to say, hey, they're either, level 1, level 2, level 3 dementia. Let's just talk about the levels. Okay. The level 1 is like, they're still kind, they're nice, they're a little bit forgetful, they need companionship. Level 2 is getting increasing, like, okay, we're getting bad on our hygiene, we're forgetting to pay bills, maybe we're leaving the burner on. 3 and 4 can be nice, but they can always be also very combative. Like grandma and grandpa, they're cussing a lot. They won't take their medication. They're throwing their meds off the table. They're taking the Depends off and throwing them, on the carpet. So all of these things can happen where you can see it, and also where you're presenting it to a neurologist and they give you ideas like, hey, I'm seeing this and I'm hearing this from you. I suggest you do this. So an example, I took care of a Parkinson's patient that had like level 2 dementia. And every time I took him to the neurologist said, why doesn't he have full-time care? And my answer to him was, unfortunately, his family couldn't pay for it. But every time we went to the neurologist, it was like, this man needs full-time care. He's not safe by himself. He's not safe while even his family lives in the next home. He needs eyes on him at all times. So there's all different kinds of levels of, you bringing someone into your home. Is it just for companionship? Is it
Okay.
someone to keep eyes on them while you're at work and you can't be there? Is it someone that you need reprieve? And so this caregiver needs to do the meals, do the bathing, do the clothing, do the light housekeeping. All of
I
these things
see.
come into play. So when someone comes to me, I kind of ask them like, questions, questions to identify what the situation is. And A to Z, I want to know, not just the ailment, but what's going on, how you feel, what are your needs, what do you think their needs are? And when we get to those questions and I give you those, we get those answers, then we can make an educated decision on care.
Say your grandparent is a 2 to 3 in that range, right? Carl, let's go to you on this one. What are some of the things you could do to your own home to make sure it's safe for them and to retain their dignity?
Let's do bars. I think bars, bathrooms,
Okay,
hallways, rooms are amazing. Open, move furniture around, make room for them, make sure, all corners are covered. It's
I see.
basically
Basically,
almost
childproof.
the same. Baby proof of your house, but
Mhm.
you're gonna prove it for your elders, your loved ones. You're gonna move furniture around. You're gonna move, they fall. Let's cover corners. Let's move furniture around so they can move walker, a cane, wheelchair, whatever the needs are. When it comes to a bathroom, make sure there's bars, there's non-slip. Um,
Shower chair.
Shower chair, good call. Yeah. One of the things I think is common when talking to some of these elderly is that they still want to feel independent, still want to have that dignity. How much should you be working with them on the decisions of what the home will look like? Maybe even setting up their own room.
it's always great to give them opinions of what has to be done and what is needed. So you need a non-slip, a rug on the
So,
floor.
right.
Give them colors. You know, by giving them options, they're go by giving them options, they're gonna feel like they're in control.
Great
Not just
idea.
say, "Hey, we have to
Yeah,
do
for
this."
sure.
Always give them options. Always, talk to them first before you do anything. You'd say, "Hey, I'm concerned. I just want to talk to you about this. What do you think about not just saying, 'Hey, we're gonna do this.' Hey,
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
for
gonna
sure. I
do
agree
this
with her. I
because
agree with
So
her.
it's always great to give them opinions, to give them options, to take in count of what they want
Yeah.
because they do get
Yeah.
frustrated, they do get upset when they notice that they start losing control. So it's just they notice.
Yeah.
They
They notice
notice
it.
when they notice it. So it's always great to talk to them and always get opinions.
And then I'm sorry, and then Lindsay, you had mentioned something I thought was very interesting, the idea of reprieve, because I feel like taking care suddenly of a grandparent, because sometimes this comes on very fastly. Suddenly you're taking care of your parents. How often should you be setting aside time for yourself, and how do you set that up for yourself?
I mean, daily. I mean, go get a Starbucks coffee,
Yeah.
leave the
Yeah.
house if you can. Because I mean, you you want to set the boundaries of you still being that loved one and not that caregiver because you don't want that frustration and that anger and that hate. You want to you need to understand that that person's not healthy. They're sick and you don't want to get those mixed emotions. How am I trying to explain this? You don't want to come in like you're just the caregiver and forget that you're still their loved one. And
Right.
those two can get sideways. They can go sideways. If you don't take care of yourself, it's the old saying. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't care of somebody else,
Well said.
right? So you have a 9 to 5 job, you're taking care of a sick person, and you're trying to take care of yourself. Gosh, please take care of yourself. Find reprieve. That's when a caregiver needs to step in. So
Yeah.
you can go get a Starbucks. You can go get your hair or nails done. You can go see your friend. You can go work out. Do something for yourself daily, at least an hour, because you need to be
So
able to come back loving to that loved one.
Yeah.
another thing, if your parent, your loved one is a night wanderer, it's getting up at night, having constant bathroom breaks and getting up and you're tired, you work the next day, get a night shift caregiver.
Okay.
If you work
Get a
from
night
home,
caregiver.
yeah, get a caregiver so he or she can be with the loved one at night so you can get your sleep. Sleep,
That makes sense.
you need your
Yeah, and
sleep.
you're still there. You're
You're
still
still
there with
there.
your loved one. You're getting reprieve. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So there's so many components, Frank, like what you asked. There's so many components, and I feel a lot of agencies, and I'm not going to say all of them, but I feel a lot of agencies just stick a warm body into that component.
Right.
And there's so many components to go over. And that's what I pride myself on. And I think I bring that to the table because I'm a caregiver myself. So I'm able to see what's important and what's not in all those components from A to Z. You know what I mean? I don't want to just send a warm body. I don't want to be a warm body. I want to be somebody that understands the situation and that can handle it for both myself and for their loved one.
Lindsay, that's so good to hear. And luckily, we have Finding Home Care, link in the description, guys, so you guys can be going there and finding the right person. But let's narrow it down to 3 questions that you should be asking during the interview phase to this new caregiver to make sure that they're the right fit for your home. What are those 3 most important questions?
I have 3 right here. I have 3 right here that are important that I ask each one. Do you have the skill set to deal with this client's ailment? Meaning, if they're bedbound, you know how to transfer them from a bed to a wheelchair, from a wheelchair to a commode or a toilet, from the toilet to the shower safely. Do you know standby assist? Number 2, do you have a Department of Justice live scan background check? We do not want any misdemeanors or felonies entering someone's house. Number 3, do you have professional references, not friends and family? Can I call your references and make sure that you don't have call outs, no shows, you're not doing drugs, you're empathetic, and you're loving? Those are 3 important questions to ask because you've just knocked out, do they have the skill set to deal with your loved one's ailment, right? Are they safe? And are they on time, efficient, and empathetic?
That's perfect. And you know what? We're going to have all 3 of those in the description too, guys. So you don't have to worry about writing those down while you're driving around. We'll have them in the description and come back to this episode. When is it not the right fit? What is that thing that's like, you know what? It's time to find a new caregiver? Because I know that kind of will feel a little awkward, maybe confrontational for some people. When do you want to pull that plug and find a new caregiver?
Personally, if I hear from a family that, gosh, we loved them for the first 2 weeks and now they're slacking, they're on their phone. I can tell they're looking at TikTok. I don't feel that, seriously, I don't feel that my loved one is getting the one-on-one attention because guess what? I have a camera in the house and I can see what's going on.
Right.
Or number 3, hey, you know what? Sometimes just people's personalities don't jive and it's not a bad thing. It just happens. Right. So we thought it was great for the first few days, but it's been a week now or it's been 2 weeks and we either love them and they're part of our family or we need to replace them and get somebody else that just jives better with my loved one's needs.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And it's not like you're hurting anybody's feelings. It's all about protecting your loved
No,
ones.
but I
So
want to say
you
this.
gotta
I
do
want
that.
to say this. I want to say this. Please, when you're hiring a caregiver, understand this. Give them a week to 2 weeks. They are coming into somebody's house that they don't know. It's scary for them. It's just as scary for you. Your personalities have to mix. They have to jive. You guys have to understand each other's schedule for the first week. You need to understand all of these nuances and new things. So if you get a caregiver and decide in the second day you don't like them, don't do that. Wait a week to 2 weeks. Once again, that
Yeah.
caregiver is just as nervous as you are. They're walking into an environment that they don't know and they have to figure it out. Both sides have to figure it out. After 2 weeks, if you guys have figured it out and it's still not a good match, hey, find somebody else.
That's
But remember, the caregiver's coming into a fresh new environment too.
Yeah. You have to learn.
And that
to-
also goes for caregivers. You don't have to put up with anything. And I'm talking as a caregiver myself.
Right.
You don't have to put up with anything because it's harder. It's one thing to go into a home when there's a loved one living alone. And then it's another thing to go into a home when there's a full house, when there's the daughter, when there's the dad, when there's the grandchildren, when there's people living in the home, it gets very stressful for everyone.
And they're all putting in their 2 cents all day long. And you feel like
Yes,
you're being covered over.
Dad,
You can't do
the
your
daughter
job.
tells you one thing, the daughter tells you one thing, the grandchild tells you another thing, and it's like they're not on the same page. You're the one who gets in trouble sometimes, or you're the one who gets, called on, and I'm like, okay, it's your guys' home. You guys, I have to be on the same page because I'm here trying to do the best for your loved one.
Right.
But it
Yeah, I agree with
it
that.
gets hard. So it's
Yeah, for sure.
it's so not only for a loved one, but also for caregivers, you don't have to put up with, bad faces or bad treatments.
Yeah.
So
I just think so basically just circling back, Frank, there's so many dynamics in care. And I think when you find a company that that is meticulous in organizing the dynamics, I think you found the right company. And that's something that I pride myself on once again is I'm meticulous in my vetting and qualifying, listening to both sides and matching. And I think that's just so important. So once again, there isn't an ABC to this. There's like A through Z of dynamics that go into each individual's loved one's care.
Yeah.
And everyone's different and there's every different kind, there's tons of situations. But, hopefully people, find a company that they like or a caregiver they like and it's managed well. So everyone's, happy.
When I think about the audience for your guys' podcast as somebody who's editing it, I often think about the listeners and how much of a difficult situation they're in right now. So let's imagine right now that there's somebody who's listening to this. They're in the hospital parking lot. They just got the news it's about to change their life. What is that one thing you want them to hear in this moment to help them go forward?
Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. And my advice to you is, I know you're desperate and I know you're thinking like, oh my God, what do I do? The social worker's talking to us, the discharge planner talking to us. Take a deep breath. My advice to you is look on Google, read the reviews. Don't read the reviews that just caregivers give. Read the reviews that families have given about this company and take your time and read 5 different companies. Call 5 different companies. Ask your qualifying questions. It's going to be okay. Just take a deep breath.
Well said. Well said. Anything last note on you, Carl?
no, I think we're okay.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Anything else that you want to add, Frank?
Nailed it.
I just want to thank you both for answering these questions. I know that there's so many, and a lot of times these problems become immediate, and you learn all of a sudden that you have to learn about this. So, finding home care, it's in the description, guys. Make sure you guys are following along and subscribe to Unfiltered Caregiver. Give them 5 stars on Apple Podcast and Spotify, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Bye.